I think it's working.
Best thing ever.
Let me check.
I'm always up.
Oh, good. Welcome. I think we're live. Oh, Amanda, thank you. Welcome to the first Get to Know Coach Mo with Christina Jagels, owner and founder of Closer Pros. I hope you enjoyed our game show music to enter.
Get to know Coach Mo. Welcome, Jagels.
Oh, gosh. Oh, thank you for being here and having 5 minutes to review the questions that I sent you.
I made them. We're not asking any of those.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you that are watching, I really just wanted to give you an opportunity to get to know me a little bit more, perhaps outside of how you feel like you already know me, or if you don't know me at all, and get a sense for what I Love It When is about, and then also get to know some of my friends and some of my preferred partners, like Christina Jagels with Closer Pros, which is a transaction coordination company that does all the paperwork for all of you agents out there that need help. And they're Washington wide. What?
I just got in the preferred partner category.
It was a surprise. I was waiting to tell you until now.
Wait, you meant friend / whatever you called me. Business partner?
Yes.
Preferred partner?
You are a preferred partner. I refer you to potential clients.
/ friend.
And then soon to be national transaction coordination company.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a very laid back, casual conversation.
Can you see what I feel like people are going to want to ask questions, not just listen to us.
Yes, and you guys are welcome to ask questions. Amanda, your friend and colleague, Jake Howard is on. Delaney Dean is on. So I'll keep Facebook up and say, ask questions if you have.
Tell me, I can't find it.
You go to the I Love It One page.
Thank you for telling everybody how to do this.
Yes.
If they want to find it right now, because that makes a lot of sense.
All right. So I just
trace comments. Okay, nothing. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for being my first interview.
Yeah.
Ever actually.
I'd rather it be a game show, but it's not really. Because
could be.
You have a buzzer?
I mean, I should have a bell.
You should have a buzzer, because I feel like I'm going to be asking questions.
Okay. Every time you ask a question, as soon as I have the answer, I'll just go like that.
That's fun. Okay.
And maybe I get points for every time I answer correctly.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm Jagels. I am the first contestant to the show. What is this called?
Called the I Love It One.
No, I know that one. What's the questions with Mo? Mo coaching Mo. Get to know Coach Mo.
Get to know Coach Mo.
I'm the first contestant.
You are.
But I'm not playing. Margaret is. So I'm actually the host. Is that right?
That's correct. You got it totally right. Point for you.
We don't have a lot of time today, so we need to move quickly.
Are you a little busy right now?
Nope.
How many people do you have working with you with Closer Pros?
Closer Pros is a team of 7 right now.
7.
Yeah, it's super exciting and great. Closer Pros is growing, expanding. There's immense opportunity, which I am most proud about. Since this is an interview about Jagels, I'm mostly just thrilled that I've been able to create, with the help of the people around me, something that is it's like customizable, right? It's not like I don't have to have any certain type of person or service. Like, it's just super exciting. And people are like loving it, which is super weird. I thought for sure in the beginning, I'd be like, nope, everybody.
Do you mean your clients, or do you mean the people that are working with Closer Pros?
No, my peeps.
Oops.
Yeah, my peeps. All the peeps
Like
on
Melissa
TV.
Weinling, Jake Howard, Amanda Candelius.
Yeah.
They're all loving it.
Yeah, everybody's great. So it's just nice to have somewhere where people can go to actually dream and execute things that might not be transaction coordinating.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's up to you to do that. So
Yeah.
it's been super cool. In amongst COVID and everything else, we are thriving. And so
I heard you just opened a new division as well.
yeah, we did. Are we okay? Is everybody there?
Apparently we went out for a second. Let me make sure we're still live.
It's really stressful. Are we live, people?
Oh, yes. Okay, we're back on. And somebody actually asked a question.
Oh, God, really?
Oh, God. She
No.
said, Jennifer Detroit said, Mo, you've spoken to your vision and mission throughout your rollout. Will you share a couple of things you're most excited about in these beginning stages? And what does Jagels win as a contestant?
Well, Jennifer. Well,
Excellent question.
I win chocolate chip banana muffins.
Yep, absolutely. Chocolate chip banana muffins and probably a margarita. Or actually, in your case, pina colada. Or maybe
pina colada.
Of your choice.
Well, that's a good way to start it. Well, yes. So we don't need to interview Jagels. If you guys want any more information, you can freaking message me, okay? Because we're here to talk about Coach and Mo coaching. So, I think that's a great question to start with, Mo. If you want, like,
okay. Yeah,
talk about your vision and your mission, and you know what. Like I know what you're most excited about, but I'm sure a lot of us do. But
yeah, okay. No, I think so. The vision and mission. There's the way I describe it is kind of in two pieces, and there's this very practical side, and then there's this more kind of magical, mystical side to it. So the more practical side is that, yes, I'm offering coaching and consulting, retreats, speaking things. If you'd like to have me speak at a company retreat or even just at a team meeting, small things like that, that's the practical side. So I have 12 coaching spots, and actually now I think I have 10 left, which is cool. And so that's the practical side of what I'm offering right now. So I'm just in these early stages, I'm super excited and have been excited to just jump off into the abyss, as I've been calling it, or the fog, and having no idea what's happening, because I've realized I actually really love not knowing, because in the not knowing is where the magic happens. And so I have no idea where this is going to go. I know that this very practical side is absolutely a part of who I am, because I've been doing it anyways for years. I've been coaching and helping people for years. And so now to be able to do this full time and just focus on that with someone one-on-one. I've worked with some admin in Pickett Street one-on-one, but I've never worked full time as a coach. And so I don't think I'm even realizing yet what I'm capable of, if I'm just focused on that person and what they want and how I can help them achieve it. And I don't have to think about running another business like I was doing with Pickett Street. I don't know what could happen. And that's the really cool part. The other area, this other kind of bigger piece, is that I absolutely plan on changing the real estate industry, specifically for admin, but will also affect agents in a really positive way. And so, and I know you and I have talked about that a lot. We've talked about that in our groups, but when I stepped into the industry 8 years ago, I was not pleased with what I saw, in that there's a lack of talent, meaning like we need to recruit higher level admin into the industry. But for those admin that are here, we need to provide something much different than what we're currently providing. Much different. And so with the retreat, which you know about, that specifically has been a catalyst for getting me to this point. And I want that retreat happening on a massive level, like international level. So those are kind of the two pieces, Jennifer, I would say. And the beginning stages is that I'm just excited to just to be doing this, to say Oh, let me check with the CEO real quick. Oh, Margaret, what do you want to do today? Oh, well, like I think maybe I should probably make a business card. Okay, well that sounds, I mean, let's take a break. Let's go for lunch. Let's like, I have total ownership over whatever I'm doing, and I've never had that before. And I know that you can identify with that. So that's been like the coolest piece of this is just realizing that I get to design it however I want. And I'm super easy to work with. So I'm like a really good boss for myself.
Is there one defining moment, or was it just over time, where you finally talked yourself into executing this
Specifically starting a business.
entrepreneurship? I mean, it's very difficult for a lot of us admin, and like I've talked to my team probably every week. We talk, and I talk about this, me becoming a D, and it's not intentional, but unfortunately, this is what I'm going to call it because I'm used to being a high SE.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
my entire operation system is transforming to something I'm not used to. I don't understand it, and so I'm becoming very different. And so I suppose I think for a lot of us as high SEs, we obviously don't, that's not a thought that crosses our mind.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to serve them, and we will forever always be in that little role. I know the answer to the question. However, I would like to know if there was one specific light bulb that turned on and set, and you were like, yes, go. Or if this has been just things over time where you finally agreed to make the move.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple defining moments, but overall, I would say it's been a progression because just like, and so when you're talking about high D, she's talking about the disc and about the personality assessment, the disc, where D, there's DISC, and the person that has like a higher D is typically more aggressive and blunt. And one of the things I've always loved about the disc is it, and this is this is a sneak peek behind like just part of that. So the journey to find out that I had the gumption and the drive and the know-how was finding all these little pieces, putting them together, and then saying, well, I would regret it if I didn't try it. And so they say that a high SC, so someone who's extremely patient, steady, persistent, detailed, all those things, once they're comfortable, they can be a D. So a high SC is a D in disguise. And so that became me. That became, once I figured out the real estate industry, once I sat back and watched and took it all in, I realized I actually had a lot more to pour into the industry than I realized. I didn't understand that I had been underutilized and other jobs. I didn't understand that I had all these other skills and abilities. And so when you start to try things and you realize, okay, maybe I effed it up the first time, it wasn't perfect, but I did it. Then you just start to take more steps, do more things, try more things, and realize, okay, I'm just going to fail continuously or like kind of halfway succeed until I've convinced myself. And then at some point, I just said, you know what? Like I've had so many people tell me things about what they see in me. It would actually be a disservice to people if I didn't try this, if I didn't go for it. Because if I'm not willing to completely encompass who I am and give that to the world, then I think I've failed as a human. I think we all have an obligation to be our true selves and really put it out there. And if we don't take that risk, we're actually missing out on the biggest adventure for ourselves. And we're also doing a disservice. I have an obligation to help all of these people that I've met over the years and to change not only the real estate industry, but the world in the way that I know that I can. And if I don't try it, I mean, would feel like I've failed. So yeah, it's been an accumulation of things over the years. And there's certain things that stick in my head, like something that you said to me when I was in Idaho once teaching. This was probably like 3 years ago. And I think those are signs. And I think the main difference between me and the world that I create and other people is that I choose to see those as signs and I choose to act on the sign. So you said to me, we were texting about something and I was like excited about my class the next day, but nervous, the usual. And we were just talking about the industry and you said, have you ever thought that maybe you're the one to change the industry? Have you ever considered that maybe you're the one? And I said, well, no, I really hadn't considered that. I really don't think, like I've never thought that I would be that person, but I think in the back of my head, I always thought I could be if I chose to be. So.
I'm very excited for you to to actually feel to feel that that response to that question is legit and real. Like, and all of us around you and the people that watch you and even your new coaching clients obviously agree with that statement. So I'm very excited for you to actually get to process. I know it's such a humbling thing, and for our types, it's very difficult even for me today to accept that, I am making a difference. And it's such a powerful statement and so cliche at the same time. And yet, like, we don't give ourselves enough credit. So I'm very excited for you to get to feel that. And I think you got a portion of that yesterday. So I'm super excited for you to go through it, because you're going to cry all the time. It's going to be great.
There's going to be lots of crying. Yeah.
That's so great. I think one of the questions, before I get confused by looking at all these other ones that people would like to talk to you about, but fear, and a lot of the people that are around me know I talk about it a lot because, well, it's our natural, natural thing. Like, if there was any one feeling that controlled every living thing that we did every day, it would be fear. Yeah. And that's just the reality of it that I've said this many times, like, fear controls what we put in our face, what we say out loud, what we put on our body, how we brush our hair, how I sit in front of you on this camera and fuck with my hair the whole time. Like, that is that natural emotion that's functioning all the time. Yeah. And in order to make a move like this, I don't think, and yes, I do know that people understand how big of a deal it is, and at the same time, they have zero idea. How did you, because fear's a big thing for me. Yeah. Were there any practices? Were there any things that you said to yourself? Yeah. I would love to know the activities you leveraged to douse that. The fear. Yeah. I love that. That's a great question that I don't think I've ever been asked. So I remember, just to go back to like my first 2 years at Pickett Street, Jesse led me through an exercise called The Book. And afterwards, I told him something. I said, just so you know, not this specific activity, but this, what I could see about personal development. I said, I'm completely addicted now. Just so you know, this is going to change me completely. Because what I learned was, the habit was, every time I was afraid of something, every time I am afraid of something, I turn directly into it, directly. And I say, oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Because fear, like you said, can absolutely control us. It can be something that sways us from some other decision. All it is our body saying, like, hey, we're worried about you. Our ego saying, hey, this might hurt you. All it's doing is trying to protect you. It doesn't mean that it is danger. It doesn't mean that it's going to do something bad to you. So rather than stay away from it, I just go right into it. And if that's a conversation that I need to have, if that's an event I'm going to, or if that's starting this business, rather than turning away from it now, I go right into it. And I've just found, like, now I'm addicted to the feeling I get when I'm in it and after it. Because when you're in it, it's like a roller coaster, which I totally love roller coasters. And I think I was just afraid of the unknown before. And now, because I get a sense of how I've done it so many times, I know what that feeling's like. It actually feels really good. And then afterwards, you can look back and say, wow, I did it again. I took the step again. And so that feeling at the end, you just have to get addicted to that feeling at the end, and addicted and comfortable with the idea of turning into it, which is not, it's not what we're taught to do. We're taught to be cautious, to be careful, don't make too much money, don't work too much, don't do too much, don't. Rather than just deciding, like, hey, I'm gonna follow what my body says to do, which says go directly into this and confront it and figure out what it's about, because it's probably not as scary as it is. So the habit has been making fear my friend. Yeah. That's, I think, one of the many favorite things that I have about you, but primarily because we know how much I am against fear,
Yeah.
as natural as it is, it's super silly to me, because fear is an emotion placed in our body. If you go back to our natural state from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
it's there so that we don't die.
Mm-hmm.
It's there so that we don't die,
Yeah.
so that we don't get attacked by a predator,
Yeah.
right? So that we can live.
Yeah.
And, and we have became, it's it's everything. And so I think that's one of my favorite parts about you, because you see it clear. And that's why I can spend so much time with you, because we're on that same level of understanding that the silly stuff is that it's silly. And yet the entire population focuses on that, to which
Yeah.
what you put on your body is not going to kill you at the end of the day. I mean, it might if you're not wearing like reflectors on your motorcycle at midnight and you
Yeah.
didn't run your headlights or something. Like, okay, then I get it. But like, good Lord, people, we're spending so much time in this space,
Yeah.
all for the original feeling is to keep you alive. And so I'm baffled by that. And so I figured I'd ask you what kind of things you've.
No, I love that. And I think, like, so if I go to really practical things, besides that general idea of turning and facing fear, the other thing would be meditation, which I talk about a lot because, like you just said, fear, all of these other things in the world are just distraction. And humans love to distract themselves because then they don't have to think about the real problem.
Yeah.
Ever. And so meditation forces you to be quiet. You don't have to be, I used to think, oh, I have to be like some sort of fancy yogi sitting in a corner for 40 minutes to an hour. No, I'm talking 3 to 5 minutes a day. And then you become addicted. Again, you become addicted to that feeling of like peace. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in a meeting with maybe like several people. This has happened to me. And you're faced with making a decision in the meeting. I go inside quietly. I like go step into myself. I can make that decision, come out and know that it's mine. And I didn't listen to anybody else's outside opinion. So meditation would be another one, because we're just constantly distracted by so many things. And we cannot be distracted. We have to face the problem, the obstacle, the challenge, whatever it is. We have to stop distracting ourselves.
Okay. So turn and face fear, meditation. I know for me, because you're asking me too.
I am.
Is simply execution. Just doing it. So Gary John Bishop, you guys know, he's my Jesus. I have no Jesus, but the Jesus I do have is Gary John Bishop. And he talks specifically about this. We sit in it instead of just making a decision.
Yeah.
Which creates all the ick and muck and dirt and nest.
Yeah.
When a simple repair is just by making the decision, regardless if it's right or wrong or indifferent, you just do it. And so that has been, I think, the biggest thing for me to manage fear, aside from just being badass, is by simply executing and not worrying about the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that when we start to move and take action on projects or in life, you're actually moving energy through your body, which helps to like keep everything in flow. So you're totally right. So did I have to launch my business on August 13th? No, but I chose that date and I did it because I knew I had to just begin. Was I ready completely? No.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just doing it because I know that once you do it and you begin, everything else happens. And so I think that's the other thing that I've learned over the last 8 years is just to begin. And so I've just begun more times than other people. That's it. It's not that I'm smarter or I know more no, I've just begun more times than other people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sayings, and you can tell me what yours is right after this, but one of my favorites, and I have to tell my people all the time because it's one of our natural things as the personality types that we have. But in your head, you're dead.
Oh, yeah.
The more time you spend in there, I mean, yeah, you should be scared then, because
That's a really good one. In your head, you're dead. Yeah.
in your head, you're dead, man. The longer you stay there, the worse off stuff gets, and you just need to, like you said, make that decision and execute.
Just do it. Just do something.
For
Yeah.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Some guy named Thomas wants to know, can you share a time when you realized your admin, coaching / leadership created results?
Oh, wow. Good one. When my admin coaching / leadership created results. Yes. There's a couple, there's several different times that started to stick out to me, but one of the best ones would be with Sarah Trosky. So she worked with Pickett Street for 5 years, and I will not take ownership over the changes that she made in her life. But what I will say is that I noticed that she was watching me, she was listening really carefully, and she was starting to repeat some of the things I would say. And then I saw her start to take action in her personal life. So it was her choice to do whatever she wanted with what she had and what I was talking to her about each week. But the difference between her and other admin that I've talked to was that she actually did it. Again, she did the things, she tried until she figured it out. And so she will always be someone who I would sit there. Like, one of the best meetings that I know she'll never forget, and I'll never forget, is we were sitting there and we're doing her 411, which is her weekly meeting. I'm crying and she's sitting there, and I'm just like, I have to give you some feedback, and it's really hard, but I know that if I don't give you this feedback, again, I'm doing you a disservice. I see something, I want you to help you adjust it, only if you're open to it. And I was crying because I hate the idea of hurting people. I hate the idea of saying anything that would make them think less than of themselves. But at the same time, I also understand that by giving her this feedback, sure, she may not like it in the moment, but she'll hear it, and she could make some changes that could really impact her life. And it's not like I was giving her this every week. It was really only after a lot of study of watching her work, seeing what happened, and noticing the patterns. That's when I give a suggestion like that. And so she would be like the first example of something I saw happen where I was like, okay, if I was doing this full time, I think I could make a positive impact in a lot of different people's lives. So, but there's definitely been other moments when I've been teaching, and it's not always in the moment. People will come to me years later and say, hey, it's because of you that I did this. It's because of you that the business changed in this way. It's because of you that I hired this admin, and we have this great working relationship. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, and I think an important thing to remember, well, my coaching style is, well, I mean, I'm a little hard. I'm a little harsh, but in a very loving, compassionate way.
Yeah.
And like with Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
or anyone else for that matter, but in that moment where you were feeling emotional, the thing that we need to remember is that we're giving individuals an opportunity to have ownership. We, as humans, don't really understand it. Oh, great.
What was that?
The neighbors are home, so Jack must alert me. Okay, thank you, Jack. Thank you, good boy. Are we good? Okay, that's good.
He's such a good dog.
So, stop. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Okay. So we're giving these people an opportunity to have some serious ownership, to which a lot of people don't really understand. And even when I'm preaching it to even my current team, it's an ever evolving situation.
Yeah.
And not only are you, you're giving them an opportunity to take this feedback, soak it in, have a moment to actually say, oh, that's what self-ownership, that's what extreme ownership is. That's what ownership is.
Yeah.
It's not what's happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's how am I responding?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh, so and so did this to me. It's so and so did this,
Mm-hmm.
and how am I seeing it? How am I receiving it? How am I responding to it?
Yeah.
And it takes a minute for a lot of people. And for me, that's my favorite part, because they can come, whoever can come to me and say something. And me too. I have shit days every day. I'm always complaining about something, even though I work really hard at not. It's still something we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to reflect and take a minute and see, like, okay, where is this supposed to be mine?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we focused on them,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I should change Jagels? Where are you at right now?
Yeah.
So that's my favorite part, is that I am able to give somebody that moment to reflect and say, is this really that though? Or
Yeah.
is it this?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's probably
Mm-hmm.
you taking it, telling yourself a story, and it's not accurate at all.
Yeah.
So what would it look like if you asked what it was really about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so giving people an opportunity to like actually get real heavy and honest. And
Mm-hmm.
I like that shit a lot.
No, you're right. It's getting real. It's taking ownership over your feelings, your reactions, how you respond, what you're actually doing. There's been a couple different admin from across the country that have come and asked me questions about our admin mastermind. How do you get people to read? How do you get people to participate? And I said, I'm not getting people to do anything. They're doing it voluntarily. And so I said, what are you doing to help start this mastermind? What are you doing to help create activity? And most of the time, they're not doing anything. And
Right.
because they're looking to whoever is the leader of that group, that brainstorming session, whatever it is, they're looking to someone else. And I always say, you are a part of that. You bring the activity, you bring the conversation, take ownership over what your participation is. And if you feel like your team needs more culture, needs more anything, you start that. You begin that. Don't look to other people and depend on other people to always be the answer, because you're going to be constantly disappointed. Not to mention nothing's ever going to happen to you. Like nothing fun is actually ever, because it's not going to. So I love that. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. So I think you're similar to a lot of humans, and yet you're very different than a lot of humans. A lot of us on the planet have had some sort of trauma, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and some of us haven't.
Mm-hmm.
For those that have, we find you to be very like a sanctuary. And I'm not speaking for everybody. Nobody has really ever talked to me about this. I'm only assuming because it's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I find you like a sanctuary. I find you very peaceful to be around. I find you to be easy, you know? There's no like rules or regs with you. Like it's just easy come, easy go. We're just living in the moment. And to have someone like that in your space is phenomenal. Holy shit. So like, I would love for you to share, and this doesn't have to be a long response, or it can be whatever you want, but I would love for you to share, if you can remember or have an idea on how to answer this, the things that you have done, learned, experienced, executed. What are all the things, or just 3, that you've done that have accumulated Margaret Smith? Like,
Okay. I'm literally
does that make sense?
I think so. Things I
The
have.
who, the what, the wheres, the whys, the hows. How did you become you? Because you know this to be true. You know that, and I hate using these, I think they're silly words, but you like them. How are you so magical? How have you become so peaceful and like sanctuary like and loving and how have you become this person? What are the things? Who are the people? Can I just have just a little bit?
Totally. Yeah. No, I love that you said magical too. um, yeah, and I don't get asked this question very often. I think like what you and I have talked about is that I ask so many questions because I'm so curious, and I have realized that's part of the secret sauce is asking questions, because the more you ask, the more you learn, the more you understand. And so I don't often get people that ask me questions, which is part of why I'm doing these, is that people get to know me, because the downside to that is that I don't share about myself very much
Yeah.
unless asked, because I don't believe, I always believe that other people are more, this is probably not the right word again, but more important. And they are. Other people are more important than me. And so, as far as the who that makes me up, I've thought about this a lot as I've reflected over the last years before I started my business, because I think I had to, and I think we all have to. I reflected, and so I would say, like, of the three things that you mentioned that accumulate, there's the who, the what, and then the why, or those pieces behind it. My family would be first. So I think I was gifted my family, and specifically my parents, in order to have this crazy, amazing foundation of love, like unconditional love and safety. So, like you and I talk a lot about feeling safe. And so, because I have this foundation where I always knew I could mess up and it wouldn't ruin anything, I could F up everything and it would still be okay. When you have that as a baseline, nothing else in life can touch you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go out and you can try things and you can do things and you can mess up and you can cry and you can fall off stage, you can do whatever you're going to do, and you always know you're going to be okay because that baseline is there. So I do think that that was first and foremost. There's a reason I have my family. There's a reason for that. There's a reason I haven't had trauma, and it's so that I can sit across from someone who has and reflect what I know they're feeling from, like, because I have such deep empathy, and yet I don't take it in or absorb it. So that gives me the ability to sit with someone, hold space for them, and know that they're sharing something with me and it's theirs, it's not mine. And I think that is part of it. So the foundation with my family, and then the experiences, I would say, is I always knew, I felt this weird feeling that I didn't belong. I was not, in high school, I was like ridiculously sad, and I thought I was depressed and lonely and all of these things because I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to say what was in my head because I felt like anything I said was stupid. It was just not, I felt like I was from a different time. So I always felt out of place. So what that prompted me to do was to constantly search for my space. And so from the age of probably like 8 or 9, I've just been looking, and I've just never given up. And so when you're doing that, you're constantly looking for the people you're supposed to be around. You just don't stop. It's enough of a motivation to keep searching until you do find what you're supposed to do. Because I knew that my purpose was not what everybody else felt theirs was. I wasn't supposed to. I have friends that have been in wonderful marriages since they got out of college, and I just knew, I was like, I'm not supposed to be married and having kids, even though I'm very maternal. That's not what I'm supposed to do. I just felt it in every bone of my body. And what I did when I felt that was I didn't ignore it. So I didn't say, oh, I'm going to get married anyways, because it's what I feel like I'm supposed to do. Oh, I'm going to act like this anyways, because it's what I feel like I'm supposed to do and people will approve. I did the complete opposite. I just said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm going to go over here. So if you still like me, great. If you don't, okay. Which is not, as someone who I am a people pleaser. Like, I like people to be happy. It's not a natural tendency for someone like that. But I just knew that I couldn't ignore this. If I ignored it, I was going to be physically ill. So there's the foundation. There's the going after what I was seeking constantly. And then the other part would be, I think, just a never-ending curiosity. So again, like, always asking questions, always learning, always going after it, and then believing in the unseen. So, like, growing up, grew up in a Catholic family, but not super strict Catholic. Just, again, my mom was a big believer in unconditional love. So faith and religion is really more of it's a spiritual way to look at the world. We're here to love people, to love on people. Everybody has possibility. Everybody is someone that you should know, and nobody gets to be on the inside. It's all inclusive. And so growing up with that, I definitely had a journey where I was like, well, am I supposed to be more religious? Should I be doing this? Because there were a lot of people in my world that said all sorts of shoulds. You should. And I think that spiritual part, that kind of mystical, magical, unseen part, is what people don't really understand about me. And it's the part that I've totally embraced, because there is magic in it, because I pay attention to my body. I said something to somebody last week. I said, one of the things that really pushed me to start my business was that there is something else that is pushing me to do other things, and I can't say no to it anymore. So working for someone else, I would have to say no on occasion, because I had to align with the mission and vision of the business. I got to the point where I couldn't say no anymore, because something is telling me to do things, and it's not like I'm hearing voices, but literally I feel led to coach. I feel led to do this retreat. I feel led to do something on a national and an international level. I can't say no to them anymore. It's like this pack of people behind me that are like, hey, Margaret, you need to do this because we know you can do it. We need you to be a leader. We need you to do these things. I can't say no to them anymore. And so that's the other like kind of gray area part which is why I'm so excited about this client that I got yesterday, because he is all about that. He wants to dig into that. He wants to figure out more about what that means. And I think that's a big part of life. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know, that we can't explain. And we have to be able to acknowledge it. We don't have to call it something. We don't have to call it a God. We don't have to call it whatever, but we have to acknowledge it. It's real. It's very real. And when you do, and you start to pay attention to how it interacts with you, or what you feel, or what you believe, then that's when you start to create the world that you didn't think was possible. And so that's when I've had people come to me and say, hey, you seem to live in this whole other magical, like, world.
Yeah.
How do you do this? How does this happen? Why are you happy? Because it's not like I'm happy all the time. And I say to them, like, well, it's a journey. And I'm never going to totally arrive, but I'm finally here. I'm finally in a place where I know this is where I was supposed to be. And so I love that question. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that I wanted to touch in your answers, and though I think we'll just leave it how it is. I mean, I think too, like with the trauma thing, because I know you've felt like there's been some apprehension in regards to like you not having any or whatever, and that meaning whatever they think it means. And really, if you want to just take a step back and think about it from another perspective, it's when I say you're like a sanctuary, I mean it. Knowing that you haven't is it's serenity for some of us. Mm-hmm. And you allow a special kind of light and space that's safe when you haven't. And so for me, knowing that you haven't gives me a space to really talk about it without you knowing, without you understanding it, without you judging it or even siding with it, or even, you know what I mean, agreeing with it. Because a lot of times when we're talking, people want you to know that, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I've been there. And you haven't. And that's what's really great about it, because it gives you a space where you just get to listen.
That's true.
And you're not thinking things we're thinking. You're giving us, like I said, that sanctuary space of just.
No, you're right.
Then we get that very soft, loving, compassionate, safe response that you come back with, rather than, you know, I don't know what it is, the empathetic response or whatever. Kind.
You remind me of I forget what the quote is, where it says people listen to respond rather than to hear or understand. And so
Right.
I think that's definitely part of it, because I definitely don't claim to understand what anybody else has gone through.
Right.
And
Right.
and that is something else that, because of your feedback and other people's feedback, I've realized I have an ability to create a safe space,
Yep.
whether that be with a coaching client or with the retreat, my physical space of my house. I know what feels good. And I pay attention to that, and then I execute to make it feel that way everywhere I go. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a good point.
Well, nobody's asking any questions from what I can tell.
I saw one other thing up above from Andrea Downs. She said, ownership is such
Well,
a powerful mindset. I honestly, maybe it's not a question. It believed it helped her set boundaries because I built something worth fighting for. Oh,
yeah.
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 Um, do you have so I know we read a lot, and this interview could go on for 17 hours, but I know we read a lot, but just have some constructive advice for whoever.
Yeah.
We've read a lot of freaking books, and I
Yeah.
mean a lot, like front to back.
Yeah.
If you had one you could just tell me right now, what would it be?
That I would recommend people read.
Your favorite, the one that's impacted you most.
Oh, Fierce Conversations.
Okay. You've said that many times.
Yeah. And I stick to it because it is still the first one that comes to mind, because I had such a hard time sharing my feelings for again, I turned it, I looked straight at it, and I said, all right, forget this. I got to share it. Even if I say the wrong words at the wrong time, I have to start doing it. And so that book will forever, be one that I mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think my number one most favorite thing about you, number one.
Number
I'm
one.
not going to number more than this. Only
Okay.
one, and it's my favorite, is your laugh.
Oh.
Can you share with us that feeling you get when you're laughing? What's the what makes that urge come the most? Like, what is it? Because I love your laugh. It's so real and potent and loud as shit.
Really? Yeah.
It terrifies me every time it's on the podcast or whatever. I literally swerve into another lane. But it's my favorite thing because it immediately changes the environment. And I was just curious, if you had something in your head where you're like, yeah, I laugh all the time because of this.
Yeah. I laugh because I think I didn't really feel free to be myself before. And I am very playful, and nearly everything brings me joy. And so I think when you do that, people have always thought that I'm younger than I am. People still can't believe I'm 39. And when I was in my 20s, they thought I was a teenager. And I think part of that is just living in your joy rather than living in stress and discomfort and anger and resentment and all these other feelings. Joy and happiness and finding the joy, that's natural for me. So I don't have to search too hard, because I think I've trained myself. And then also my mom definitely had a part in that growing up, but it's like everything is joyful to me. Like the fact that we're here talking and I didn't die yesterday is a miracle. So I think we just have to, if we approached it that way, I think we would find that as communities and cities and towns and states and nationally and internationally, we would find a different kind of life that we just haven't allowed ourselves to live yet. So yeah, when I'm laughing, you're right. It's absolutely just natural, responsive. It's not, I don't think about it. I'm not trying to impress anybody with it. It's just, something has made me laugh, and it's very real. And I think that's why people comment on it. But it's fun. It's also brought me, that again has been a sign that has helped me understand that there's something about the way that I am, that I've learned to be, that I need to teach other people how to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow, you've been a great host. This has been, do you have a 12 o'clock appointment? It's only 2 minutes out.
I don't. I'm going to work the rest of my life. Shit. You do have to tell me, though, your favorite race car, your favorite car.
Oh, God, and I know nothing about cars.
Race car.
My favorite race car?
A race car. Fast,
Well, yours. Yours is the only car that I know, the Audi.
Audi.
Yeah, the Audi.
The Audi is Margaret's favorite race car.
It is. I mean, next time I go out to buy a car, I'm taking you with me because you know way more than I do.
Yeah, well, okay. We're not going to be looking at race cars, though. You're going to want like a mama wagon or something.
I don't want a mama wagon. I want like a Jeep or.
Jared says my car. He doesn't like the Audi. He likes his car.
He does like cars too. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, you've done an hour. I think we did pretty good. I think we got a damn good glimpse of whatever we were trying to go for today, which was nothing until we turned on the camera because we didn't talk about this. She was supposed to be more planned and ready than she was, so we just winged it.
You went with it. You went with it.
So, is that it? Did we accomplish what you were?
We did, totally.
Does anybody have any questions out there? I know there's a slight lag on freaking Facebook, but does anybody have any dying questions for Miss Audi?
And if you guys don't right now, but you do later, you can just go to my website.
Don't forget to ask.
No questions later. Just now. This is your only opportunity. Yeah, I think there's like a 15-second lag.
What else? Nobody's asking anything, so great success, Miss Beamer. Jared likes his Beamer. Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, go make me rich.
I'm going to turn off the live.